Hello and welcome everybody. We're just going to jump right into it here. I just want to show you one of my best races that I've ever had, including all the close racing. They all actually happened this week for some reason. I'm not sure if it's something in the air, something to do with the track. When I first saw this track show up in a daily race, I was like, oh no, this thing has some really long corners. I'm not really fond of it, but it did bring out the best in me. I don't know why, but yeah, here we go. So earlier in the race, I started out P2, and P2 wasn't kind to me. I lost a couple of track positions by going offline and in the grass, but I'm making up some spots again. We are now racing Logan. Logan, I'm not sure who he is or who they are, but that being said, one of the best battles I've ever had, period. So I just want you to join me while I show you what's going on in this final lap of the race. So Logan here is going to go on the inside line, which is smart because I was just going to push right through there. Being the final lap, I am going to be given probably 95 to 100% pace, depending if I have the room, of course. So right now, these corners are pretty sweet in this car. You can just keep your foot to the floor, keep it pinned down, and as you can see, I'm catching up by doing that. This is a tricky corner, I find, just because you have to brake so late and then kind of hope you don't understeer into the grass, and then kind of in the middle of that corner you can just step on the gas, hope you have the grip, and just push straight through, because there's quite a long stretch here and we just pass somebody else, make up another spot. Here, that was super close. I'm actually not sure if I actually touched Logan there. That sounds weird, but if I actually ran into Logan there, and doesn't seem that way, so I'm just gonna keep going. I do try to steal away the inside line here, but it was just too far away, and Logan braked later than I did as well. So all I was focusing on right now is to keep the pressure on, especially in those last couple of corners. I find the corner coming up here, actually the second corner, is one of the trickiest of them all, because you have to brake, and sometimes you go a little too far in the grass, you lose it. But Logan and I both did it pretty good. Logan goes very defensive right now. I figured I'll go the long way around, get a better run, but Logan stays ahead for the moment. I actually didn't realize in the race that this was the final lap. I was just battling as hard as I could, and I did get quite a bit of slipstream right to the finish line, but nevertheless Logan wins, and rightly so. Very, very well done. I actually really enjoyed that race. Now let's go to the next one, and off we go into daily race A, which is the Honda NSX. I caught everybody lacking. I'm not sure what was going on there, but I squeezed on by into P2, and right now we are behind Slayer 77, and we are gonna put the pressure on. I found that at this part of the track it was quite easy to catch up to people, because it seems like I was just flying past there. You really have to overdrive these vehicles to really get something out of them, which is almost always true for the daily race A's. With the normal vehicles, I'm saying it like that because, you know, they're special vehicles, but when you're used to the GT3 and GT4 and whatnot categories, the normal vehicles are kind of weird to drive because they're very floaty, especially in this corner. You can feel that too. Just look at all the corrections I have to make to keep it online there. This always seemed like a good corner to pass people in, but it actually never happened for me. There has been some people really close behind me there, as you can see, the orange one. But then again, here you're very close behind them again, and then there's a straight ahead, so you can use the slipstream to get closer. At this point, I'm just pushing them ahead, especially in this corner where it is really tricky to get it right, because this is the part where I lost it the most when I did lose it. And we do skip ahead a little bit, and right here I do take the inside line. I thought I had it, but then of course I'm on the outside line, so that's again a tricky corner to do that in. But if you get it right, I guess you're better off on the inside line on the left. So the first one you want to take outside, and then you're on the inside, if that makes sense. It did to me, as I noticed it while I was doing it. I was on the wrong side. I shall now demonstrate. While I made a mistake earlier, I am now in P2 still, and taking that inside corner on the second part of that corner, and I do keep it in. The orange car is still there, and it does have the inside line here, but somehow I do go a little bit quicker on the straight, so I must have had a better exit there and keep it ahead. Couple laps later, and we are on the final lap, and Slayer 77 does take pole position, which is fine. Again, a great race, and now by far the best race I've ever had. Doesn't even come close to the other ones. Start in P5, the same track as in the beginning, GT3 car, so GR3, and this race, spoiler alert, we're gonna be on the podium for sure. So first lap, the game plan is definitely consistency. Because it is a sprint race, so 5 laps, no pitting, no fueling, just racing. So what I wanted to do was just to keep the car on the track, keep up with the pack, and just see what happens, and that's exactly what we did. Right now we're already catching up to P4. I'm definitely close enough for a lunge, but I said no, let's not do it, let's not risk it, fake them into it, and yes, I did fake them into it. They are going off track and back on track behind me, so now we are in P4. The next person to catch up to is the green Porsche in front of us, and the green Porsche goes for an early checkout, which is fine for me. That means I have now a P3, which is a podium position in my books. So far I'm getting pretty damn excited, and we're gonna keep going. 2 people fighting right away. I can almost catch up to P2 already, and if this keeps going, the rate it is going at, we might be P-3 by the time you get to the finish line, because they keep dropping like flies. As I was just saying that, dropping like flies, here goes P1. P1 goes to the guy in front of me, and P2 goes to me. That sounds just really confusing. That's just a confusing way of saying I'm now P2. And now the fight is on for P1, and pretty soon I am up to Camilo's tail, and he is defending fiercely. But we take the outside line out in to get a better exit. The only problem I have with this car, which is the Toyota Supra, just like the one in front of us, is that it really gets a little oversteery on exit. So as soon as you give it just a little too much on the throttle, it will oversteer, and there goes all your momentum. So of course I'm not the only one that has issues with that, because as you can see right in front of us, there's a Supra as well. But they don't seem to have that issue, so they must have better throttle control than I do. So I'm definitely dealing with somebody that knows what they're doing more than what I know what I'm doing. I can't even say it right. And right here, that was an interesting move. Definitely stepped on the brakes pretty hard to just get me on the outside. So I'm not sure what the plan there was. I was kind of scared almost he was going to push me off, but this driver is definitely a clean driver, so not to worry. But that definitely slowed him down, so it got me to catch up a little bit. Although right now they go pretty wide on the left, so this gives me a really great exit for the next corner. Although I can't really make it there on time. I do a little fake out, but this person is definitely not falling for my fake out, so definitely have to change my strategy here. And I definitely have to capitalize on this sector. I do seem to be pretty quick on this sector, and our opponent here goes defensive on the outside here, which is the inside on the next corner. We talked about this in the video earlier, so you got to keep in mind that there's another corner usually behind the other corner that you're just taking. And I don't know if I made contact here, not sure. It's definitely a close race, especially between vehicles that are exactly the same machinery. This is the trickiest corner, I think I mentioned this before as well, in the whole track here, just because you got to take it so gently. The way you start off by braking is very hard because it's on an angle, and then on the throttle again there's grass there, so it's pretty tricky. And like I said, I have to capitalize here. I go late on the brakes, scared him off a little bit. I think again also goes for a early checkout, which is again fine for me. Kind of weird what happens in that corner. People just seem to go right. People don't seem to know that the corner is a little bit later than that. But anyways, we are now in P1, and right away in my rearview mirror I see the Porsche, and all I'm thinking about is I got P1 right now, I better not mess this up. And now we are in the last sector of the last lap. I'm gonna go ultra defensive, even though the Porsche is right in my rearview mirror. Trying to sneak by, I say no, that's not happening. I'm gonna stay right here. And the last corner, I'm not sure if the Porsche will still get there, although I'm not gonna take any risks. I don't want them to have any slipstream, so I go hard right, and I look in my rearview mirror. It is not close enough, so I'm gonna go left again to take that checkered flag and P1. Thank you very much for joining me in this video montage of my best races this week. If you liked it, please leave a like and a comment, and definitely stick around if you want to do Guess Drawer, which is a little game that I usually put in these videos at the end so you can guess what vehicle it is from GT7.